This is the third of a three-part series on creating piano reductions in Finale. In the first video, I talked about setting up a workspace below the piano part and imploding music to combine parts that have the same rhythms. In the second video, I showed how I combine parts when the rhythms are different, and in this final video of the series, I'm going to show how I clean up a piano reduction after I've added all the pitches. The examples in this series are from The Divine Image by Nathan Lang. This is published by Santa Barbara Music Publishing Company, and I'm using this with their permission, and no, they are not paying me. I've been engraving music for Santa Barbara since 1997, and I must say they put out some really good quality choral music, so check them out at sbmp.com. I'll put a link in the description below. In the previous video, I created a piano reduction for measures 53 through 61. We have some cleanup to take care of, and that includes deleting the 4 empty staves at the bottom now that we're done with them. To do that, I'm going to click the Staff tool in the main tool palette. Then I will highlight all 4 empty staves under the piano part. To do this, I'm going to click to the left of the scratch soprano staff to highlight the entire line. Then I will shift-click to the left of the scratch bass part. Here's another way to highlight those measures. While I'm in the Staff tool, I can click to the left of the scratch soprano staff to highlight the entire line again, and then I can continuously press Shift and the down arrow key until all those measures are highlighted. While those measures are highlighted, you can Control-click or right-click one of the handles and select Delete Staves and Reposition. Here's another way you can do that. I will undo with Command-Z. Then I'll highlight those measures again in the Staff tool. Then I go to the Staff pull-down menu at the top and select Delete Staves and Reposition. Now before I do that, check out this keyboard shortcut. While I'm in the Staff tool, I can get rid of those highlighted measures with Command-Delete, and that's what I'll do. Now that those scratch staves are gone from below, I want to clean up the unnecessary and the floating rests in measures 54, 55, and 58. Here we have rests in layer 2 that don't need to be there, and because these measures have notes in multiple layers, the quarter rests in layer 1 are floating too high. First thing I'll do is hide those rests in layer 2. To do that, I need to make layer 2 my active layer. I can look down in the lower left corner to see which layer I'm in. I could also click here to switch to a different layer, but there's an even faster way to do that with a keyboard shortcut. I'm going to click on the View pull-down menu at the top, and then I'll go to Select Layer. Check out those keyboard shortcuts. I can press Command-Option-1 to activate layer 1, Command-Option-2 to activate layer 2, and so forth. I'm going to use the Command-Option-2 shortcut, so I'm going to get out of this, then I'll press Command-Option-2, and now when I look at the lower left corner, I can see that layer 2 is now the active layer. Now that we're in layer 2, I'm going to get into the Speedy Entry tool to hide rests. I'll click on the Speedy Entry icon in the main tool palette, then I'll click in measure 54 of the piano right hand. To hide the layer 2 half rest on beat 1, I'll press the H key. Now I'll navigate to the next measure with the right bracket key. Then I'll navigate to the layer 2 half rest on beat 3 with the right arrow key. And again, I'll press H to hide that rest. Now I'll press Return to navigate down to the piano left hand. I hid the rests in the right hand instead of deleting them because they act as placeholders for notes appearing later in the measure. The layer 2 rests in the left hand do not serve as placeholders, so they don't need to be there at all. I'll navigate to the half rest with the right arrow key and then press Delete, and then I'll press Delete again. Now I need to get to the piano right hand measure 58. I could just click on it, but I can also navigate by hitting Shift Return to move my Speedy Edit window to the staff above, and then hitting the right bracket key until I'm in measure 58. This half note rest in layer 2 is acting as a placeholder for the half note D flat, so it needs to stay there. I'm going to hide it with the H key. We can still see the rests that we hid, but they're very faint. We can see they're there, but they won't show up when you print or if you generate a PDF or a graphic file. Now I'm going to take care of the floating rest in layer 1 in measures 54, 55, and 58. I'll first switch to layer 1 with Command Option 1. Now layer 1 in the Speedy Edit box appears normally, while layer 2 is dimmed. I'm going to navigate back to measure 54 with the left bracket key. The quarter rest on beat 2 is too high because the measure has some notes in layer 2. I'll navigate to beat 2 with the right arrow key. Then I'll hit Shift plus 8 to move the rest down to the correct position. If you're using an extended keyboard for Finale, which I do recommend, you can hit the asterisk key in the numeric keypad, and if you are not using an extended keyboard, you can type Shift 8. We'll do the same with the other floating rests, so I'll move one measure to the right with the right bracket key, then navigate to the quarter rest with the right arrow key, and then hit that asterisk or Shift 8. Then I'll press Return to navigate to the staff below and do the same with the quarter rest in the left hand. Now I'll press Shift and Return to navigate back up to the right hand staff, and then I'll use the right bracket key to move the Speedy Edit box to measure 58. Then I'll move this floating quarter rest with the asterisk or Shift 8 as well. I can press 0 to exit the Speedy Entry box, and this takes care of our rests. Now we need to fix the stems in measure 55. Some of those stems in the piano left hand, measure 55, are pointing the wrong way. We need to fix that, and there are a few ways to do this in Finale. I'm going to show you 2 of them. I'm still in Speedy Entry, so I'll show you the Speedy Entry way first. While I'm in Speedy Entry, I'll click on the piano left hand in measure 55, then I'll navigate to beat 3 with the right arrow key, and then I press L to flip the stem. Then I'll navigate to beat 5 and do the same thing. I just press L to flip that stem. That was easy enough, but now the tie on that last note is flipped the wrong way, and we can take care of this by navigating to that note and pressing Command F. I'm going to show you how to adjust ties and flip stems in the Special Tools tool. First, I'll press Command Z a few times to undo the stem flipping that we just did. And now I want to get into the Special Tools palette. This is the Special Tools palette. I have mine set to Always Show. If you need to call it up, just click the Special Tools icon in the main tool palette. That'll be the little wrench. In the Special Tools palette, I'm going to click the icon that shows a note with the up and down arrows. This is the Stem Direction tool. Now I'll click in measure 55 and several handles appear both above and below the staff. The handles above the staff are all highlighted. To flip stems down, I need to highlight the handles below the staff. I'll go ahead and do that. I just click here and click here. These stem handles will only appear for the currently active layer. If I wanted to flip any stems in layer 2, I would need to switch to layer 2 with Command Option 2. I'll do that. And now notice that we only have handles for layer 2 stems. I'm going to switch back to layer 1 with Command Option 1. We can also flip that tie at the end of measure 55 with Special Tools. Back in the Special Tools palette, I'll click on the Tie tool, which is the icon with the 3 tied notes. When you click the Tie tool, every single tie on the screen for that layer will have handles. I'm going to click and drag to select 1 or 2 of the handles on the tie at the end of measure 55. I could also click in a handle, but I'm a little clumsy, and when I do this, sometimes I accidentally move that tie around. As long as just one of those handles is highlighted, you can click Command F and flip the tie. We've got one more detail to take care of. Normally, you don't want the same note to appear in both the right and left hand in a piano part, but there are times when it does make more sense to keep the voice doubling. Check out the doubled D flats in measures 55 and 56. This is a judgment call, but I feel like those D flats should remain in the left hand. For cases like this, I'll put parentheses around the doubled notes in one of the staves. When I engraved this for Santa Barbara Music Publishing, I put parentheses around the D flats in the left hand, and I did this with the Expression tool. I'll click on the Expression tool in the main tool palette. That's the mezzo forte icon. Then I'll double-click on the left-hand D flat in measure 54 to call up the Expression selection box. I already have a set of parentheses created from when I originally did this project, and I can either double-click on that expression or I can highlight it and then click the Assign button. It's faster to double-click, so that's what I'll do. Now the parentheses appear in the score, and then I can adjust them as needed. I'll do the same for measure 55. While in the Expression tool, I'll double-click on the left-hand D flat in measure 55. Then I'll double-click the parentheses in the Expression selection box. And then adjust as needed. There are some note spacing issues left, but that's going to be taken care of later. There are no lyrics in these measures yet, and those lyrics are going to affect the note spacing, so there's really no sense in applying note spacing at this point. After this, I would typically add lyrics, and then I would apply note spacing, and then I would add slurs, articulations, and dynamics in that order. In the first video of this series, I showed you how I create a workspace with scratch staves and how I use Implode music to combine unison rhythm parts. In the second video, I showed you how I combine parts that are more independent, and in this video, we cleaned up some issues with rests and stems. If you have any finale questions or tips of your own, add a comment below. And please give this video a thumbs up if you got something out of it, and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.